Well, we'll take a look at the bottom half of the men's doubles draw, where Asan and Setiawan lurk as the second seeds right at the bottom. In this section, Ren and Tan face Koga and Saito to set up a quarter-final with the winner of our next match tomorrow.
Let's welcome the players. Men's doubles, Marcus Fernandi Gideon and Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo, Indonesia, versus
Well, they're looking pretty focused as they walk out to court. Sukamuljo, Gideon,
Kobayashi, Japan.
and as are Takuro Hoki and Yugo Kobayashi. They've got some history, these two pairs. We'll get into that in a few moments. But let's see whether the coin toss results in the choice of ends. You can see the head-to-head there, 11-3.
Red for you. Like this. Right side. Service or receive? Service, who serve? Kevin, who receive? You go.
Well, a change of ends as the Japanese won the toss and elected to start the match at the bottom of our screens on the faster end. That head-to-head was 11-3. Their last meeting a fortnight ago at the Malaysian Masters round of 16. Hoki and Kobayashi came through in straight games and in fact have won 3 out of the last 4 meetings between these two pairs. All of the previous meetings before that had gone the way of these two, Marcus Fernandi Gideon and Sukamuljo. Well, he's 32 years old. Marcus Gideon now, former world #1 pair, I think everyone watching will be aware of. Spent 214 weeks as the world #1 pair. Many of them are consecutive as well. One of the most creative players in the men's doubles game, Kevin Sanjaya Sukamuljo, 27 years old, from Banyuwangi in East Java, Indonesia. And they're ranked down at number 16 in the world at the moment and 19 in the World Tour rankings. 2-time semi-finalists here at the Singapore Open in 2017 and 2019. Have never won this event. Have won nearly 2/3 of all the Super Series, Grand Prix and World Tour titles since 2010, which is incredible. Their first round took just 22 minutes yesterday, 21-5 that opening scoreline. Impressive from these two. Good to see them on good form this week. Takuro Hoki's 27 years old, from Yamaguchi in Japan. They're 6th in the world at the moment. They were former world #1. They had that incredible run at the back end of 2021, which included the World Championships, the World Tour finals, and that tour through Indonesia. They were simply the best pair in the world at the time by quite some margin. His partner in the background there, Yugo Kobayashi, also 27 years old. 6th in the world, as I mentioned, 13 in the World Tour rankings as we get halfway through that World Tour year, that calendar leading to the World Tour finals in December. And again, less than half an hour it took to come through against Kang and Seo of Korea yesterday. Back on court, this time as chair umpire, Shum Sai-kit from Hong Kong, and Gunars Luzveris from Latvia, our service judge. So the Indonesians in the bright lilac kit at the top of your screens. And the Japanese to start the match.
Ladies and gentlemen, on my right, Takuro Hoki and Yugo Kobayashi, Japan. And on my left, Marcus Fernandez Gideon and Kevin Sukamuljo, Indonesia. Kevin Sukamuljo to serve to Yugo Kobayashi. Level. Play. Oh.
Well, Chris, I know you came up against Kevin and Marcus on a number of occasions. 5, I think, if my stats last night when I was researching are right. And you had points in your first meeting with them and in the last meeting with them over a 4 or 5 year period. What does it take to play against those two?
Yeah, I mean, when they're at their best, they are incredible. And, you know, as you kind of identified earlier, when they were world #1, there was a period of time where, to be honest, I don't think anyone could beat them. They were almost unbeatable. I think they've had a tough time. COVID hit a difficult time for them because they were unstoppable before that. And then Marcus had an operation, and he's obviously back. But when you have an operation, it's a serious thing. It takes time to fully recover. And they're still kind of coming back. They've only got 11 tournaments on. They're ranked 16 in the world. They're still getting back into their flow. And I think we're months away from seeing them at a higher level. I think it's difficult because we've started Olympic qualifying and they're quite a bit behind everyone, just because even the team points they got, not great compared to their ranking. And I think this is a pretty big match because here's a chance for them. I think the conditions suit them, the style that they play, and they're playing Japanese, who are one of the best players in the world. And it's kind of going to give them a chance to show how good they still are.
Well, Hoki and Kobayashi, for me, looked so good, and they in 2021, like you mentioned, sort of towards the end, coming out of COVID, they seemed to take over in that sort of first few shots of the match kind of forecourt area.
4, 2.
Yeah, I think at the moment in men's doubles, there's not a pair that stand out for defense, as in has an incredible defense. I'd say Hoki Kobayashi, when they were performing very well, their defense looks incredibly solid.
Like that from Kobayashi.
Yeah,
wow.
You know, they work well together. Left-hander, right-hander combination. I do think men's doubles is the most open event at the moment. There's not a pair that you would say they really are by far the best in the world. You know, in this tournament, world #1's lost first round, and I don't think they played at the level we're used to them, Arianto and Afian. And I think almost every week it's a different men's doubles player that wins. You know, not quite, but it almost is. I mean, it's so open, and a pair ranked, you know, maybe 50 in the world, they could win a tournament just because it's that open.
Yeah, the men's singles seems to feel the same with, I think we've had 10 or 11 winners over 11 or 12 events this year. But I agree, the men's doubles is wide open. It has been over the last few events I've been to.
I think the difference with the singles is when Victor's playing and he's on, he's a phenomenal player that when he's playing well, he's almost unstoppable. Whereas I wouldn't say really in the men's doubles, even if Afnan and Arianto, if they are playing well in their current world #1s, I'd still say other pairs can compete with them.
Yeah.
And that's why Kevin is so good, is that first cutout around the head, and he put the Japanese in so much trouble. And this is where the way that Kevin and Marcus worked so well together was because you had Marcus, who was the hard-working player that was solid, physical, consistent. And because of that, he allowed then Kevin to be the flamboyant, creative, kind of, you know, at times almost a wizard on the court. But they kind of complemented each other so well. Sometimes I think Marcus maybe didn't get the credit he deserved of being, you know, the hard-working, consistent player. And this is why it's so difficult. He was the one that had the operation because he's the one that's had to now kind of physically get his condition back, and it takes time.
Yeah, very important. If he is that solid performer, if he's not quite there physically, then how do they win points? Kevin can't do it on his own. And we saw that in their last meeting at the Malaysian Masters. They didn't really look in it in the entire match. Hoki and Kobayashi seemed to sort of dominate, dictate, almost not toy with them, but they seem so relaxed. And I think that's because Kevin and Marcus are sort of on the comeback and they weren't quite at that level yet. They're looking a bit more up for it today, in my opinion.
I think in the tournament in Malaysia, the hall suited the Japanese a bit better in regards to they could move the shuttle around, they could play the big court style, whereas in this hall, I think it's much trickier too. This is why I do feel the Indonesians, the conditions do suit them a bit more. I'm not necessarily saying that they're favourite, but I do think the conditions suit them better in this hall than the tournament in Malaysia.
Yeah. Yeah, much slower, the Axiata Arena, at least throughout that tournament. And you could tell by the length of the rallies, the length of the matches that week. When things went to 3, they were going on for 2 hours. We're not going to see that much this week.
No, unless we have a real crazy, crazy game.
Oh, I think it caught the line challenge by the Indonesians.
Yeah, I feel that did clip the line as well, but could the drift have taken it out?
Oh, it is. Good call, Chris, yeah.
It's a great challenge by Kevin there.
7, 8, play. Oh.
Well, there's Marcus taking charge in the forecourt, backing up his partner. We used to see Kevin allowed just to move forward freely.
It was good control in the rally here. Like that control there from Kevin was really good. I do think Kobayashi could have put more pressure on when Kevin was in trouble.
Hoki this time, tying up Marcus Gideon. Didn't even raise a racket. Well, a poor decision for the lead, but I'm encouraged by the physicality he was showing there in those first 2 smashes.
I think the difficult thing is Marcus he's a strong lad. He is a strong lad, but I think sometimes the power he puts in is the same, as in it's 100% power, 100% power. Whereas if he just had that little bit more variation of power,
yeah,
just makes, for his opponent, it makes him feel a bit more uncomfortable. The Japanese have a good defense, there's no 2 ways about it, and when they're used to the full power, they're kind of getting used to it, and I think their defense already shown they feel comfortable with the power that's coming from Marcus's racket.
Yeah, good cross. And that's clever from the Japanese. Just guiding the shuttle into the open space to set themselves up. The error in the end from Sukamuljo, I think it was. This shot, I like that. I'm not sure Sukamuljo needed to go forehand defense there, but...
Nah, it's a well-placed smash, though.
Yeah. Well, 7 minutes, and it's 11-9. Hoki and Kobayashi off to the better start in game 1.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. There's some heart. 11, 9, play.
Return of serve winner from Sukamuljo. Some haircut, Chris. Did you ever dye your hair blonde?
I had all sorts of colours, yeah.
Did it make you play better?
I'm not sure it did, to be honest.
We don't know.
Almost a little bit too casual there from Kevin.
Yeah. There's a tendency to sort of stand upright and just take it forehand, and that wizard analogy, I think, is right. He's just sort of putting a lot of stock in his own racket skills, which is no bad thing, of course. Great shot from him here.
But one of the reasons why Kevin is so good at the net is hunting the shot. He's hitting a shot and he's trying to predict where it's going. He's making a move, and that's the integral thing when you're a net player.
Just wide. Yeah, I always find it fascinating. A bit like yourself playing with Marcus Ellis, you know, you were the net man, you were the man trying to find and create those opportunities, trying to finish rallies. Hoki's more of the front player in this pairing for the Japanese, and certainly Kevin Sukamuljo. Must be a challenge to work out how to try and get him at the back and keep him there.
I think that, yeah, that's the difficult thing. The other difficult thing is with Kevin, because he's so bold with where he moves, it's hard to predict. You know, it's very hard to calculate where he's going to move to, which side he's going to cover, what he's going to cover.
Doesn't that make it difficult for his partner?
Definitely, it does. And that's why, you know, Marcus has quite a difficult job, because it's hard to know what Kevin's going to do, because he can do things no one else can do.
But the confidence to play that, I mean, the shuttle was by his ankles. He's mid-court, Japanese pushing up the court, and yet he still plays the net.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably say it was the wrong shot.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, Kobayashi should have done better with that.
Good smash again. It's the placement into that racket hip.
It's great placement, but I'd still say, for me, I don't think Kevin's quite ready there. The lift was a bit short, it was, from this one, from Marcus. The lift is a bit short, fraction, but I just not quite ready in defence. And it's hard for the Indonesians to defend because the wind is going against them, as it were. So when they do lift, the Japanese have a bit more power or zip in their attack.
Yeah, well played. 16-13. Channeling the attack onto the off-balance Gideon. Good court coverage. Covering for each other really well, the Indonesians. Cross smash, big open court.
Good placement here on this final smash here.
So much court to aim at, it's like there's no danger of that one going out the back.
And it also would set Hoki up because of the left-hander right-hander combo. If Hoki looks off there off his forehand, then he's setting him up. But obviously it was such a good smash that Kevin couldn't even get it back.
Good return of serve from Sukamuljo.
Kevin's been really aggressive on the serve the whole game so far.
Kevin having to work hard in the mid to rear. He makes that look so easy. And that really isn't. What defence from Sukamuljo. 2 or 3 times in that rally. Just that change of angle. That's coming down the middle of the court from most people, but Kevin managed to squeeze that out wide into the tram lines, forcing the Japanese to move that bit further and causing the error. And the smash doesn't come back. Momentum with the Indonesians. They've been 1 or 2 points behind since the interval. Just keeping with the Japanese pair. Oh, might have caught the line. No challenge, though.
18-16.
Yeah, well out.
Play.
Well, they survived somehow. They got out of rotation, out of position.
I think it was a fortunate miss hit from Marcus before they got him back into the position.
Kevin pushes forwards, perhaps at the wrong time.
16.
I would have to say the Indonesians aren't looking as smooth, as in with their rotation, they're understanding who's covering what as normal.
Right.
Normally, well, especially when they were world number one, everything looked so smooth, you know, they knew who was covering what, even though Kevin makes, you know, phenomenal moves, but quite unique moves. Whereas I'd say here, it looks a bit like they're not quite sure who's covering what, who's hitting and moving. It just looks a little bit unorganized compared to the Japanese, who we haven't really seen them out of position yet.
No, and is that because of their opponents? These two seem to have got the better of Kevin and Marcus over the last year or so. They've won 3 out of the last 4. They seem to have sort of worked them out, perhaps.
I do think, yeah, I think it almost all stemmed from it was Endo and Watanabe who kind of were one of the first pairs to figure out how to play Kevin and Gideon, and it was, you know, the Japanese style. And I think some other pairs then followed that, making it big court, not really engaging with Kevin at the net, taking him out the game. And it's so tough when you're a net man and
keeping Marcus on the back line,
yeah,
basically.
And there's no engagement as the net player because you try and come off, you try and get involved, but you're almost getting involved at the wrong time. And these Hoki and Kobayashi, you know, they play a very traditional Japanese game, and they've got a very solid defense, and they like to play big court. They're not really playing big court here because they can't, but I do think pairs with a great defense, Kevin and Marcus do struggle a bit more with, because that's not really how they want to play. They want to engage in the flat game. They want to get Kevin involved at cutting the shuttle out and using his creativity.
Game point, Hoki and Kobayashi. Power from Marcus, doing enough damage to cause confusion.
Good control from Kevin.
And here he goes, he's at the front, it's where he wants to be. But they've given the attack away and missed.
Yeah, and it was difficult because they both know Marcus shouldn't have gone over them, but he felt like he had no space. I think the difficult thing is that Kevin was controlling the rally fantastically well. He was keeping the attack, but they don't have that extra something to get through the Japanese defense. And then it gets to the point where they get themselves in trouble with the Indonesians, and the Japanese get the attack in a good position. And again, they win the point from it, the Japanese. They're controlling the Indonesians' attack too well. And then when they get the attack,
yeah, first time of asking, just one shot in the downwards direction. And the opening game to Hoki and Kobayashi. Good signs from the Indonesians, and the change of ends here could be all important. 21-18.
Kalau lu pas posisi di depan jangan terlalu maju. Ada lu dilewatin terus agak mundur, karena memang setengah-setengah. Kadang-kadang bisa bantu. Ya.
Kalau si Kevin bilang ini, si
ya. Dia jatuh dulu. Tadi kan udah beberapa kali gue naikin, dia ngambil kalau gitu.
Aduh, mati terus ya setengah.
Enggak,
Jadi kayak
kan lu dari depan situ agak mundur dikit. Karena kan dia pijak silang tuh. Enggak. Terus kalau di posisi itu kan
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Thank you. Just use Hoki. Use your shoes.
So the Japanese got their noses ahead early in game 1 and just stayed ahead. Positive signs from Gideon and Sukamuljo, though. Just get the feeling that this isn't the draw they would have wanted in the round of 16. They've got a bit more pace, Chris, to play with in this second end.
But it's already showing how good the Japanese defense is. They controlled the attack fairly well. I mean, and then that last shot, I'm not totally sure what he's trying there, but it was quite a poor mistake. But the Indonesians, Marcus and Kevin, are going to have to work very hard this this game to get through the Japanese defense because it is very solid.
Oh, it's wonderful from Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's done unbelievably well there. First of all, getting the first shot he actually got back and then putting the pressure on, stepping forward.
Yeah, so brave. Into the body of Hoki. Effective, difficult to return.
Good pressure from the Indonesians there. Good drive and then good follow-up from Marcus at the net.
He'll be disappointed with the miss.
Yeah, I think the body language of the Indonesians is starting to look a bit negative. Yes, that was a simple mistake, but if I was the Japanese, I'd almost be growing from looking at the Indonesians because they are looking more negative. They're looking more frustrated. And it's hard to control that because obviously you are frustrated. It's a good move from Hoki, stepped in really well there.
5, 4.
Gone long. The flick serve was effective from Kobayashi. Good defense. Hoki was so far back in court.
And I think if we think just back to the first game, the Indonesians trying to defend against the Japanese, they really struggled, whereas this game, the Japanese look fairly comfortable. I wouldn't say really comfortable. They look fairly comfortable defending, which is a big, big difference.
Oh, confusion. Somehow they keep it alive. Wonderful from the Indonesians in defense. They were so casual with it as well. Out the back in the end.
Yeah, I mean, they got back 2 absolutely incredible shots. Then in the end, quite a simple just push through.
Like you say, Chris, Kevin's just not looking ready in defense, is he? Not, almost like he's not bothered.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very casual guy, and that's sometimes how he played some of his best stuff. Good move there, good cover from Marcus to fill the gap, and then Hoki's kind of opened up his partnership. But yeah, just going back to that, I think, you know, Kevin is one of the most relaxed players in the world, and on one hand, you can say it's great because when you're relaxed, you can be more creative. You know, you can move the shuttle around, and some of the stuff he can do, it, you know, no one else in the world can even dream of doing it. But then on the flip side, I'd say sometimes he does almost look so casual, he doesn't even look ready. Yeah. And when someone hits a bigger smash or a stronger drive, sometimes his racket doesn't look like, I mean, look at that, I don't know.
He's found the line, I
think.
think.
I think that was him, but I don't know how he even got that. His racket was down, and then all of a sudden it was up, reversed it, and played an incredible shot.
Yeah, without your racket starting high, how on earth does he take it from his knees and then play a controlled shot?
But exactly, I think Kevin's the only guy in the world that can do that. You know, anyone else tries to do that, he's put it plumb on the line. Anyone else tries to do that, it'll be a miss hit, it'll go in the net, it'll go out, it wouldn't be consistent, but he's just unique. You know, he's a unique character in a number of ways, and it's hard to try and emulate that, and I don't think anyone really should, because he is so unique. He is a special player. When he plays at his best, he is phenomenal. He's almost unplayable. But we haven't seen that for a fair bit now at his very best.
Yeah, it's difficult here, that final shot. It's almost like you need that get out of jail free card. Just, okay, I'll lift it to the back line and we'll start again, but they keep going out. So they've got to try to take the initiative in the forecourt early.
11-6 interval.
Really solid from the Japanese, who have a 5-point lead at the mid-game break.
Okay. Kamu sudah jumpa ada crosser. Jumpa. Ini ya.
Court 1, 20 seconds. Court 1, 20 seconds. Play.
That's really nice from Hoki. Standing his ground at the net.
Out. Service over. 7-12.
Again there, the Japanese just look so comfortable in defence. You can see the Indonesians getting more and more frustrated. I mean, the body language now if you didn't know anything about badminton and you just turned it on and just looked at the players, how their body language looks, you'd say the Indonesians look incredibly frustrated and the Japanese look pretty positive. That's a great drive.
That was. Kobayashi twisting and turning, but could do nothing about the winner. Yeah, it's demoralising almost, with Gideon having to work so hard from the rear of the court, but it just keeps coming back. And that was just a mistimed shot. And his head's gone. Was that the drift? That looked awful from Marcus Gideon.
Yeah, I think from his body language you can see he's looking at the coaches a lot. He's questioning himself a lot. He's got to have confidence in himself. He's still a good player. Is he playing at his best right now? No, and he's just making more and more mistakes. But I feel like he's getting on top of himself. He's getting frustrated. And when you do that, it's obviously very hard to not do, but when you do that, all you're doing is you're putting more pressure on yourself. You're making life even tougher for yourself.
Another one's gone long. It's starting to look like the writing's on the wall here for the Indonesians. Struggling on this faster end. And even Kevin now is trying something outrageous.
Yeah, I think they've almost lost all confidence that they can actually win this second game.
Just wide.
18-8.
Yeah, Kevin now just happy to lift off. Giving the attack away freely. And just a matter of time. Solid though from the Japanese. I mean, they've worked hard, especially in defense, Chris, just to neutralize the Indonesians. And now their reward is that they can cruise through to the end of this match by the looks of things.
Yeah, it's been a very quick game.
Service over.
I think it's tough to see because the Indonesians, they really have lost all confidence, all belief, kind of almost all interest, even in the second game.
So, 20, match point 9.
So 11 match points. Hoki and Kobayashi have run away with the second. And Kevin, without putting up a fight on the final point, humbly easing their way off court. Hoki and Kobayashi through to another quarterfinal. Splendid display from them, particularly in defense, looking solid.
21-18, 29.
And with that flick serve, it's all over. Disappointing, Chris, not to see more of a fight?
Yeah, I think it's a bigger, there's something bigger there than we realised, because I'd say there were frustrations in the first game, and then in the second game, almost a case of just gave up. And there's obviously a bigger underlying issue there, what the bigger problem is, but you know, the simplistics, you can't give up. Doesn't matter what the score is, how frustrated you are, whatever they are, that, you know, players of that caliber, it doesn't matter what the score is, they could still come back, and, you know, the last 4 points, they just weren't interested.
Straight games win then, Hoki and Kobayashi. Welcome back. Day 3, we're at the Marina Bay area of the Singapore, and it's the indoor stadium for the Singapore Open Badminton. Straight games win then for Hoki and Kobayashi in the men's doubles. We've got women's singles coming up next for you. She was emphatic yesterday, Gregoria Mariska Tunjung from Indonesia. Today, she takes on Thai